back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simon's down in Boulders, folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Wednesday, March 6, 2024, our earlier broadcast time. Once again, folks, we broadcast on Wednesdays at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central Africa Time in South Africa. That will make it 3:30 this time of year in the United Kingdom, 4:30, 16:30 in Central Europe. The reason for that, of course, is Wednesdays with the Colonel on Ronaldo's program, which occurs at 7 p.m. South Africa time, noon here. So in order to get the news in, we do an earlier broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you all here once again. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat. It's a very consequential day. Nikki Haley has dropped out of the race, or at least she claims she's suspended her campaign. Why didn't she just say she's terminated? I think that's the proper term. But Nikki Haley has dropped out of the Republican nomination, thereby all but assuring Donald Trump will be the nominee. Last night, Donald Trump mopped the floor with Nikki Haley. We'll talk about that extensively. Also, more rampant crime in South Africa. Heartbreaking to see what's happening in that country. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the ICC further undermining its credibility with ridiculous arrest warrants for people it has no jurisdictions over. You can't take institutions or international bodies or governments seriously when they interject themselves in places they have no authority and no bearing. For instance, South Africa going to the International Court of Justice to seek a genocide ruling against Israel when there was no genocide. Just absolutely ridiculous. Hello in the chat. We've got Val Cooper first up, and then Teresa's here, Vilma Rasmus. My 5 Pence is back. Jeb Jackson. Welcome, Jeb Jackson. I don't recall seeing you here before. Welcome to the program. And then Ashley Engelbrecht is here. Of course, Sue Walsh. Thank you, Sue, for your kind comments. Janet Liddy in from South Carolina, the Palmetto State. Nick Muller's here. Gus is here. And then Tony Nage. Oh, my goodness, we haven't seen Tony Nage in, I think Tony must have dug out of the snow there in Alberta. We haven't seen Tony in weeks. What's going on, Tony? Good to see you there. Minus 20. Well, you may have dug out of the snow, but you're still buried in the cold up there in the Great White North. Oh, wait. Is that racist? Can we say Great White North? Snow is racist. Paper is racist. Paper should be black with white letter. Wait, would still be racist. Anyway, let's get on to it, folks. Really bad. Too much snow. Yeah, I'm not surprised, Tony. I'm not surprised. They're in Canada, man. It's a far cry from the plains of Central Europe that the Hun invaded many centuries ago. Anyway, welcome back to the program. Let's get to the stories here. There's a lot to talk about as usual. Don't forget, after this, I'll be on with Ronaldo. So, hidden agendas, says my 5 Pence. Okay, who's hidden agendas? All right, okay, so first off the bat, Nikki Haley has withdrawn. She just spoke at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time within this hour. She announced her withdrawal from the campaign in a professional, polite message, but not a bridge-building message. She failed to endorse Donald Trump, left that up in the air, making the same mistake that Ted Cruz made in 2016? Yeah, 2016. Ted Cruz failed to endorse Donald Trump and left it up in the air and made a lot of people angry and caused division within the Republican Party, but Trump still won. This time around, Nikki Haley making the same mistake and not being the bigger adult in the room. She, of course, made 3 fatal mistakes in this campaign. Number 1 was in Iowa. When Nikki Haley came in 3rd place in Iowa, she got up on the stage and declared victory. She got 21% of the vote or 19% of the vote, and Donald Trump got 51%. So clearly she isn't the victor. So, and even so, the race, many analysts and pundits said the race in the Iowa caucus was for 2nd place to see who would challenge Trump going forward. She came in 3rd behind Ron DeSantis and then declared victory over Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. So that was the first mistake. She looked like an idiot and dishonest. The second mistake is she began pandering on her campaign. The crocodile tears about her husband, who's a major in the military, who's deployed abroad. Yeah, okay, grow up. Some of us spent most of our lives abroad defending freedom so you could run your mouth. That did not sit very well with active duty or with veterans or with people who just don't like panders. So that hurt her. In addition to that, she started this, when I was a little brown girl, I didn't get to participate in the beauty pageant. It might have been because you're annoying and not that attractive. I don't know. Just saying, Nikki. But it certainly probably wasn't because you're a brown girl. Give me a break. Black kids have participated in and you're not even black, participated in beauty pageants for centuries or for decades anyway. So she started the pandering nonsense. She also began her third mistake. So her first mistake was Iowa claiming victory. Second mistake was the pandering, the typical talking points for the aggrieved, the abused class, the underprivileged, those who don't have a chance. And she started her nonsense about gender. And she did it today when she did her concession speech that she's walking off the stage. She said, well, I hope to inspire generations of little girls. Really? You don't hope to inspire generations of little boys too? Yeah, what's wrong with that? Why do people always default to genitalia when they want to uplift people? It's stupid. I'm not running for the state legislature to represent boys or encourage little boys to run or little girls. I'm running for the legislature to represent the residents of this legislative district, which includes men and women, some trans, black, white, Christians, probably a few Jews, and even a few Muslims. Yeah, that's who I'm running for. Everybody. I'm don't think that anybody should be particularly proud because I rose from poor circumstances as a poor white boy in rural Appalachia, and that poor white boys should be inspired by this now. No, all Americans should be inspired by my tale. Yeah, everyone. It's just ridiculous nonsense that comes from these politicians, and it's really disappointing, and it's a reason why I've told you all along Nikki Haley is a fraud. She'll say whatever she has to say. She'll do whatever she has to get elected, and she's no different than the rhinos and the Democrats who do the same thing. So anyway, there you go. So Nikki Haley, that was her third mistake, of course. So the first mistake was the Iowa claiming victory, then parenting. And the third mistake that she made was her full-on assault after getting 43% of the vote in New Hampshire, owing to the fact that 21% of the people who voted in New Hampshire were not Republicans, because the corrupt system that New Hampshire has, allowing other people from other political parties to decide the candidate for a political party. This is a corrupt system. It must be stopped. States should only be allowed to have closed primaries. If you're a member of the Democratic Party, then you vote for the Democratic candidate. I, as a registered Republican, cannot vote in the Democratic primary. I have no say in it. It's not my place to pick their candidate for the fall. It's my place to pick it for my party. Or as an independent, I get no say. This is just simply wrong. And in New Hampshire, she had an artificial appearance of having 43% in the primary. And she continued. But when she got 43%, she became emboldened. She began attacking Donald Trump incessantly. I'll tell you, every time I did a live stream here for the past few weeks, I get these stupid messages all the time telling me he's not fit for purpose. He's a wild card. I know Donald Trump very well, and he is dangerous, and he is. I mean, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. Then she began attacking not just Donald Trump, but attacking those who voted for Donald Trump, calling them losers, 75 million people. Then on top of that, she just attacked the Republican Party at broad. Well, what became of the Republican Party? I'm a conservative. You're not a conservative, Nikki Haley. You've never been a conservative. That's simply fiction. You're just making that up. You're not a conservative. If you were a conservative, you wouldn't be running your mouth. But today she started her concession speech by saying, our country will collapse because of debt. Duh! Where have you been for the last 20 years? I haven't heard you say that once. It's about time you said that. Maybe if you focused on that instead of attacking Donald Trump and making false claims of victory and playing the victim, oh, I'm a little brown girl, I'm a little brown girl. If you hadn't done that, maybe people wouldn't think that you're a Republican name only and a fake conservative. They might have voted for you genuinely, not simply a protest vote against Trump. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, Fox News, of course, I don't really watch that except for election time, CNN and Fox News. I can't stomach the retching behavior on MSNBC or the major networks. So I switch between CNN, which is desperate to get viewers, so they try to be a little less obvious in their bias, but they're still very biased. And Fox, which is still biased the other side, but I have to watch something. So I switch between them. But listening to Fox News this morning after Nikki Haley spoke, wow, Nikki Haley, she's accomplished a lot. Nikki Haley is the first Republican woman ever to win a primary. Are you serious? Are you serious, Fox News? Of course, this is said by an analyst who shares the same genitalia, and perhaps that's the reason why the affinity for Nikki Haley. She won the first primary by a Republican woman in history. Yeah, she won Vermont, where she won because people who are not Republicans voted for her. Yeah, she didn't win with Republicans. That's nonsense. Utter nonsense. And that's going to be your claim to fame? I was the first woman ever to win Republican primary. I won Vermont, thanks to Democrats. Please, 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 give me a break. Utter nonsense. But this is how they spin stuff. This is politics, and it's a nasty game, folks. Right. So Garrett has shown up here. Who else we got there? And Tony says, first mistake was taking on Trump. Well, she could have run against Trump without attacking Trump. She could have better ideas. While Trump was whining about his court cases of being persecuted and this, that, and the other, she could have been smart and said, the deficit, immigration, the borders are out of control, corrupt political system, foreign policy disaster. She should have attacked Biden. You're running for the Republican nominee, not against Trump. That's what she should have been doing. She made a mistake. What a mistake. Nikki thinks she's more important than she is. Exactly. That's exactly right. And she walked off the stage and people act like she's important. Like, she'll be back. No, she's not going to be back. Listen, I mean, we had a far better candidate that could have been female for president a long time ago. That was Kay Bailey Hutchison from Texas. She'd have been a brilliant candidate for president. Yep. Anyway, but not this clown car show from South Carolina. No, she looks like an idiot and sure acts it out, says Ken. Exactly. Jeb Jackson says, sorry, man. What are you sorry about? What's going on, Jeb? Okay. Hidden agendas. Richard Lammer is back. Good to see you there. Okay, let's get into the news. Will the African National Congress's top brass remove Andile Lungisa, the convicted criminal assault in the PE council meeting? Ronaldo is there. I'm going to ask him about this when we get to Wednesdays with the Colonel on his program in a little bit. But here, let's take a look at this story. News 24 is asking the question. As the ANC's top brass combed through the party's list of potential members of parliament and provincial legislatures, questions have been raised about whether or not those who have criminal records should be allowed to represent the party in those two spheres of government. No, they shouldn't. ANC Veterans League has reiterated its stance, saying anyone who has a criminal record must be excluded. Well, that means Andile Lungisa must be taken off. Former Nelson Mandela Bay councillor Andile Lungisa, who enjoys support from the ANC Youth League, is popular among the party's ground forces, made it into the ANC's highest decision-making body, even though it was sentenced and served time for his involvement in the 2016 Nelson Mandela Bay Council brawl. Yep. Others who have brushes with the law made onto the list are Western Cape leaders Manzwanele Sokopo, Bianca Mankai, Sabelo Malati, and Derek Appel. Appel, who's the T. Vaderskloof municipality speaker, has a pending case against him after he was charged with assault of 3 law enforcement officers. Malati, who's the former Bolin regional secretary, was arrested of fraud and corruption in 2020 and has since stepped aside. Well, the ANC top 97 are full of reprobates and accused criminals, as well as convicted criminals. The ANC is not going to just dump all these people. That's all just News 24 carrying the water, covering the backside of the ANC. Do not believe it for a second, folks. It is not going to happen. There will be a few token people who are pushed aside, who are out of favor with Cyril Ramaphosa and with the National Executive Committee, but most will stay. Zweli Mkhize has yet to be charged with criminal charges for his criminal conduct, which the Special Investigating Unit discovered investigating the Digital Vibes scam that took place during PPE scandal. And he is still a member of parliament, drawing his salary and voting on issues of national importance when he should be behind bars. The ANC's Fikile Mabulula slams the former police minister Nati Neleko's resignation. What a cheap way out, says Fikile Mabulula. He said he slammed him for his bitter resignation letter, saying, what a cheap way out. He sent a 7-page long letter to the national office and his regional branch in KZN, criticized the ANC and Mabulula's leadership, which led to his decision. I resigned from this African National Congress as its current values and principles are not aligned with mine. Well, yeah, but you stayed with him for 30 years of corruption, graft, racism, bigotry, exclusion, and just wholesale destruction of the country. So you have no legitimacy. If anyone joined the ANC and remain with it until today, you have no legitimacy whatsoever. You're not a legitimate person. The former police minister is bumhurt because Fikile Mabulula is a clown and he's in charge of the ANC as the Secretary General now. And so this is the issue. It's not that he disagrees with the ANC, he disagrees with Fikile Mabulula. Watch as the ANC eats itself and implodes from within. This is what's happening as we speak. The ANC running around getting lots of free fawning press from the likes of News 24, NASPER's propaganda outlet. They are telling people how great the ANC is and how they're earnestly investigating the people who are on the criminals list and how they're doing all the right things and how all the people show up. Meanwhile, the reality is the ANC is collapsing as we sit here. Right around us, the African National Congress, the once venerable liberation-focused organization, is nothing but a clown car show, an embarrassment to the world, not just South Africa. They have betrayed the liberation struggle. They have betrayed South Africans. They are thieves left and right. No doubt about it. One corruption case after another. Now, this horrific situation in Alberton, the axe murders. The court denies the alleged mastermind Freddie Stapleberg bail. I'm very happy and relieved that he will stay in jail. These are the words of an emotional Carol Terre-Blanche after Freddie Stapleberg, 34, who accused of orchestrating the killings of her daughter, Nadine Terre-Blanche, 32, and Nadine's son, Rondre Forster, was denied bail today. Addressing the media outside the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court in Joburg, Terre Blanche welcomed the court's decision. The matter has been eating me up since Stapleberg brought a bail application. I'm happy with the decision taken today. I was scared that he would get bail. Since the fatal incident, I've had my bad and good days. Fortunately, I have a family that supports me. It wasn't easy because we were in close contact with my daughter daily. She phoned me every day. What a horrific situation. This man remains behind bars where apparently he belongs. Well, let me ask you this question, folks. If you live in South Africa, how much more do you think you're paying for petrol for DSTV or McDonald's today versus, say, 10 years ago? 10 years ago. Yeah. South African consumers are fighting extremely challenging times with prices of goods and services growing substantially over the last decade. Amid 15-year high interest rates, elevated inflation, and a weak economy, South African consumers are struggling to make ends meet. So Debt Busters said last year was the most difficult year for the last 15 to 20 years. And this year hasn't started any better, with the consumer price index increasing 5.1% in December and 5.3% in January. Prices up 10% in 2 months. To look at these pressures, Business Tech took a look at the price of 3 goods: DSTV Premium, a liter of 95 petrol, and McDonald's Big Mac. So in 2014, a Big Mac cost 23 Rand 50. All right, when you consider inflation, that is today 37.59. But the actual price is 51.90. That is a 121% increase. 121% increase in the price. DSTV premium was 665 Rand in 2014. Today it's 1,063 with inflation. But actually it's 929, so it's less than inflation. So DSTV has increased less than inflation, but it's still 40% more expensive. And a liter of 95 petrol, which was 14.32 in 2014, if it were inflation adjusted, it would be 22.90. So today it's 24.45. So let's just put that in perspective. In 2014, if you bought a Big Mac, you were paying 23 Rand 50, and I remember that. I was in South Africa in 2014. Today, that Big Mac costs 54 Rand, or 51 Rand 90. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. 23.50 versus 51.90. That is a 121% increase in a decade. 121% increase. So your salary would have had to double just to keep pace with the same purchasing power that you had 10 years ago. Whose salary has doubled in 10 years? Mine hasn't. In fact, my salary is 40% less than it was when I was working full-time in the Army, because I got a retirement check, which is substantially less than my active check. Wow. So things are double, and I took a 40% hit. So I have maybe 60% of the purchasing power that I once had, or 40% of the purchasing power I once had. Wow. DSTV Premium, 1,000 or 929 Rand. Actually, DSTV is pretty much held in line with inflation. It really hasn't jacked up the prices. And a liter of petrol, 24.45 from 14. 71% more expensive. That's just crazy. Just crazy. So if you're wondering why it's hard to make ends meet, there's your reason. That's just a sampling of goods. Imagine what it costs for all the other things: rent, fuel for your home, to heat your home, electricity, if you can get it, water, rubbish removal. Police have killed 2 suspected hitmen after they killed an Alundi family of 5 over the weekend. Crazy stuff here. KZN police shot and killed 2 men suspected of murdering a family of 5 over the weekend. Information led the team to a homestead in KZN. As police officers approached, the 2 armed men emerged from a homestead and opened fire at police officers. Both suspects died at the scene following a shootout with police officers. At the scene, cops recovered a revolver, a rifle, 24 rounds of ammunition. Further investigation and a search conducted at the crime scene resulted in police recovering a shotgun, homemade firearm, pistol, and parts of a revolver. The Maisi family were killed after 3 gunmen allegedly stormed their home at 6 o'clock on Sunday. 4 members of the family died at the scene, and 5th died on the way to the hospital. The victims were identified as Mandalinkosi Maisi, 66, Delisi Maisi, 63, Famili Maisi, 36, Bonganathi Maisi, 34, and Findele Maisi, 29. Black South Africans, victims of the ANC's lawlessness. Lawlessness in South Africa. Well, speaking of lawlessness, it's, well, where the buffalo roam. The buffalo roam. Cape Buffalo roaming along the highway in Johannesburg. 2 Cape Buffaloes spotted. What's with Garrett? In South Africa, where buffaloes roam, it's sometimes a problem, like on a major highway. Two Cape Buffalo were spotted walking down the middle of a major highway Saturday night on the outskirts of Joburg as cars and trucks whizzed by. Some startled motorists took pictures and videos on their phones. It's not clear where the buffalo came from, and no one has reported missing any. City authorities have decided they need to be caught and moved as soon as possible because of the danger presented by the sharp-horned bovines. These can weigh 800 kilos and are notorious as fairly grumpy and unpredictable. They disappeared soon after their highway stroll, but security and risk assessment company Bidvest Protea Coin helped authorities hunt them down with a helicopter armed with an infrared camera. Their body heat was picked up by the camera and gave them away. Chopper spotted them early on Tuesday in a bushy area off the highway near Joburg's O.R. Tambo Airport. They used the tranquilizer from the air. Wow. Carrying the buffalo out on a stretcher once they were tranquilized was extremely difficult, so the best bet's to dart them with a mild tranquilizer that lets them get to the truck where they're going to be removed. Yeah, there have been other reports of buffalo in the region since April, so maybe it was them. But where the buffalo roam at O.R. Tambo. Where the buffalo roam. The lawlessness of South Africa continues with the abduction of two high school students in Brits. Two cousins abducted outside Northwest School. Cousins aged 17 and 19 were kidnapped outside a primary school in Brits while on their way to school in Hartbeespoort this morning. Police spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Amanda Farani said the cousins Zara Mohammed and Batavia Mohammed were traveling from Batavia's home to school and when they were attacked. And there's Zahara there, lovely dress. The car they were driving was bumped from the front by a maroon Audi A3, forcing it to stop. Allegedly, two men came out of the Audi A3 and ordered the cousins to get into a white Volkswagen Polo that was driving behind the Audi, and they fled the scene. The 17 and 19-year-old obviously being kidnapped for ransom, kidnapped outside a school in Brits. Scary stuff in South Africa. Police requesting anyone with information to contact the Brits station commander, Brigadier Ellen Emmanuel, at 082-447-7447. I say again, anyone with any information about this abduction of these two high school students today in Brits should contact the station commander, Brigadier Ellen Emmanuel, at 082-447-7447. Hopefully they are not going to be harmed and returned to their family. This is like Colombia, kidnapping people for money. It's sick. Well, some South Africans, according to Business Tech, are literally paying for air. Paying for air, folks. Who's paying for air? Well, some South Africans, because you're not getting water in your pipes. You're getting air. Water scarcity in Gauteng is leading to an increased number of homes with dry taps, but many South Africans are still being charged more for water despite the shortage, meaning they're literally paying for air. Carte Blanche revealed this through an investigation. Since the latter part of 2023, the residents of Johannesburg have been experiencing frequent water shortages. The impact of recent events has been widespread, affecting both poor and wealthy areas of the city, with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Senzo Mchunu, introducing water shifting, which is similar to load shedding, to ensure that areas are still able to access some water some of the time. This is all consequence of the corrupt ANC failing to complete the Highlands Water Project when it was initiated by the National Party, opening just one sluice of that effort from Lesotho through the Free State up into the Highveld. The corrupt, thieving African National Congress, had they devoted the resources to continue that project, there would be more than enough water today in Gauteng. Well, the African Union has endorsed a South African-led mission to the DRC. Okay, yeah, that's going to go real well. Yeah, the African Union Security Council held a virtual meeting today. Rwanda was not invited. Rwanda urged the body not to support the SADC mission. There you go. So, Burundi and South Africa will end their tenure at the AU PAPS on April 1st, while the DRC will be coming on board. Rwanda is not a member of the council. Yeah, so they're going to send a SADC mission to the DRC. Yeah, that's going to go real well, folks. That's going to go real well. Well, the Chinese, turning our attention to Asia, the Chinese are upping their pressure in the South China Sea with their criminal, aggressive military action threatening shipping. They're attacking Philippine ships now with water cannons. This is out of control. Someone needs to wake up Joe Biden and give him a cup of caffeine so that he can be awake, give him a briefing, and send the Indo-Pacific Command's fleet, 7th Fleet, to the area and start protecting international commerce, as we've done for decades in the South China Sea, against the rapacious, violent, warmongering Chinese communists. What it's like to be on board an outnumbered Philippine ship facing down China's push to dominate the South China Sea. This from CNN, who joined the ship. Near the second Thomas Shoal, South China Sea, as dawn broke on the horizon, a large fleet of Chinese vessels came into view from the deck of a Philippine Coast Guard ship as it entered the contested waters of South China Sea. Significantly outnumbered by a number of Chinese vessels, the 4 ships in the Philippine convoy and a resupply of troops were quickly surrounded and separated during a frantic high-sea skirmish. Yeah, so we're going to see this here. There is, you can see a photograph of Chinese Coast Guard ships attacking a Philippine resupply ship in international waters. China countered that its Coast Guard vessels took control measures against Philippine ships that it claimed illegally intruded into its sovereign territory. It is not sovereign territory, you communist liars. It's international waters. Futsek said the damaged Philippine ship ignored repeated warnings and deliberately rammed into a Chinese Coast Guard vessel when it was in an unprofessional, dangerous manner. Well, that's what the Philippines says. Nope. So CNN was on the Philippine Coast Guard ship for 2 days. The first time foreign journalists have been allowed to embed with the fleet. Their mission is to resupply this ship, the Sierra Madre, which is a dilapidated ship that is run ashore and has been there for decades. That's a photo from 2015. Philippine sailors rest on there as part of their claim to sovereignty there. It rests atop a contested reef, which even has a name that it's under dispute. Internationally known as the Second Thomas Shoal, the Philippines call the reef Ayung Shoal, and China refers to it as Ren Ai Jiao. Yeah, it forms part of the contested Spratly Islands, which are all claimed by China illegitimately. But the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan also made territorial claims to some of the shoals. So here you go. You can see a Chinese ship attacking a Philippine resupply vessel in a criminal act. China's foreign ministry has lodged a solemn representation with the Philippines to extend its strongest protests. Well, your criminal act is the strongest protest we need to adjust here. The Chinese communists attacking international shipping in the South China Sea. They are rogue, and they need to be reeled in by somebody. But that will not be Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's brain is on a vacation far away. He doesn't even know what he's going to say. Hungary's president finally signs the ratification for Sweden to join NATO. Hungary's President Tamás Solyok has signed a bill that approves Sweden's accession to the NATO military alliance. The president's office said yesterday, clearing the way for Sweden to become the 32nd member of the alliance in the coming days. There are some formalities, such as depositing accession documentation in Washington, but that will be done quickly, and Sweden will become a member of NATO, owing to Russia's foolish invasion of Ukraine. Speaking of Russia's foolish invasion of Ukraine, the International Criminal Court has once again made itself an illegitimate actor. An illegitimate actor. When you have no authority or purview over someone else, yet you take proceedings against them, you expose yourself as illegitimate, which is what the International Criminal Court has done. It's a sad story about the Rome Statute crafted by American lawyers on behalf of the world to prevent the genocide that occurred in Bosnia and the genocide that occurred in Rwanda from recurring. In the wake of those two genocidal campaigns, the International Criminal Court came about as a consequence of the Rome Statute, drafted by mostly American lawyers, and in 1997 presented to the world, ratified in 1999 by most countries, but not by the United States, not by Ukraine, not by Russia. If you're not a member of the International Criminal Court, they have no jurisdiction over you or your nationals unless you commit a crime in a country that is a signatory to the treaty. Russia, Ukraine, not signatories to the treaty. Therefore, this announcement by the International Criminal Court is ludicrous. ICC issues arrest warrants for top Russian commanders. Sergei Kobelash and Viktor Sokolov, Army Lieutenant General and Navy Admiral, are two men named by the International Criminal Court. It's the second round of warrants for Russian officials related to the war in Ukraine. The first was for Vladimir Putin, which is also illegitimate, and his children's rights envoy. Russia does not recognize the ICC, making it highly unlikely they'll ever be extradited to face the charges. Never mind the fact that Ukraine is also not a signatory to the ICC. The ICC says latest warrants were due to there being reasonable grounds to believe that two suspects were responsible for missile strikes carried out by forces under their command against Ukrainian electric infrastructure. Well, that's not a crime. That's not a crime. They're at war. You're allowed, under the law of land warfare, to attack enemy infrastructure. If not, then we better start digging up the graves of all the Allied bomber pilots who destroyed the Ploesti oil fields in the Second World War. Americans and Brits who flew over Romania and destroyed the refineries and the oil fields. Then they're war criminals. Of course they blew up the Ukrainian electric infrastructure. They're allowed to. It's a war. This is the ICC is illegitimate. It has lost all legitimacy here. Wow. Crazy. Well, here's a story that I touched on months ago, but there's not much information on it. Now the Wall Street Journal runs a story on it. Ukraine, in a war, desperate for troops in Ukraine to defend its homeland, sent its own troops to, not Moldova, not Belarus, not Russia, Sudan. Ukrainians sent troops to Sudan to participate in a war in Sudan. And you think that Volodymyr Zelensky is a legitimate leader? What a crock. Ukraine fighting Russia in Sudan. They're hoping to make the war more costly for Moscow. When Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, Sudan's military ruler, found himself besieged by rebel forces from the RSF in the country's capital, he called on an unlikely ally for help, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky had reason to take the request seriously. Burhan had quietly been supplying Kiev with weapons since shortly after Russia invaded. Within weeks of the call, Ukrainian commandos landed in Sudan, began fighting to push the rebel forces out of the capital. That was in August, and they're still there. Wow. So, Ukraine is fighting in Sudan, spreading the war. Joe Biden's proxy war finds its way to the Ukraine. United Kingdom's Treasury Chief Hunt announces income tax cuts ahead of election. We'll talk about pandering. The UK government Wednesday announced cuts in income taxes that it hopes will revive a stagnant economy, but its budget watchdog forecasts an anemic return to growth ahead of the election that is due early next year. Annual budget address, UK Treasury Secretary Jeremy Hunt told lawmakers the main rate of a form of income tax known as national insurance will fall to 8% from 10% next month. Yeah, that's not going to save the country, as you have been invaded by criminal alien invaders and you give them houses and all kinds of benefits paid for by British taxpayers at the expense of Brits, most of whom have less in income than the people who receive these benefits who are not legitimate immigrants to the UK. Well, Canada is messing with its defense force again, and little Juicy Trudeau, the little beta boy prime minister of Canada, Canadian leaders vow to be gentle in making defense spending cuts. One thing about Canada, they do have cool fatigues. Their uniforms are really cool. The Canadian government has ordered 1.7 billion Canadian dollars in defense spending cuts, but it still plans to put emphasis on acquiring new equipment as well as improving North American security. General Wayne Eyre, Canada's Chief of Defense Staff, and Bill Matthews, the Deputy Minister of National Defense, sent a statement issued on the 4th of March that they hope to minimize the impact of the cuts, which will take place over the next 3 years. Canada will spend a total of $30 billion in defense in 2024-2025, but that $1.7 billion cut equates to about 8% defense budget cut. Yeah, Canadians punching below their weight once again. Canada, an untrustworthy ally. Nikki Haley has exited the race, as I said earlier. The woman who made 3 mistakes and she's 3 strikes and she's out of it. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley announced that she's exiting the Republican presidential race today, earlier, over an hour ago, about almost an hour ago exactly. And as I said, she will suspend this. This was before I went live, and then as I watched her do it, she is gone. She's gone from the race. Nikki Haley is out. So here's the results last night, and this is why Nikki Haley is out of the race. She got thumped, absolutely thumped, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the results. Let me make that larger so you can see it. This is from the Epic Times. Okay, here is the list of Super Tuesday results. So in Alaska, with 29 delegates at stake, Donald Trump got 88% of the vote, Nikki Haley 12%. In Alabama, with 50 delegates, Trump 83% of the vote, Nikki Haley 13%. Arkansas, with 40 delegates, Trump 77, Haley 18. California, with 169 delegates, all went to Trump. 79% of California Republicans voted for Donald Trump, a closed primary. So it was only Republicans, 18% for Haley. In Colorado, which unconstitutionally sought to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, 63% of voters voted for him, 33% for Haley. Massachusetts, the liberal haven, 60% of Republicans voted for Trump, 37% for Haley. 40 electoral votes go to Trump. In Maine, where they also illegitimately sought to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, Donald Trump, 73% of the vote, 26% for Haley. Minnesota, The leftist paradise, 69% for Trump, 29% for Haley. North Carolina, 74% for Trump, 23% for Haley. Oklahoma, 82% for Trump, 16% for Haley. Tennessee, 77% for Trump, 20% for Haley. 58 delegates at stake there. And another big haul of delegates in Texas, 161, of which still 50 need to be allocated. 78% went for Trump, 17% for Haley. In Utah, where Mormons are betraying Trump, 57% voted for Trump, 42% for Haley in her best performance other than Vermont. In Virginia, which many expected that actually Nikki Haley could win, she got doubled up, 63 to 35, 48 delegates. And Vermont, the only state she won, 50% to 46%. So this is saying that Trump gained 722 delegates, Nikki Haley 46, puts Trump at 995, but there are still delegates from Texas that have yet to be allocated in this race. I'm not sure what's taking so long, because most of the votes have been counted in Texas. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So here's another look at the map with a geographic look at it. And you can see here, 995 for Trump and all that sea of red for Donald Trump over there on the map. Look at that. Nothing but red. There you go. Maine, 73%. Only Vermont, 50 to 46 goes Nikki Haley. She becomes the first Republican woman to ever win a primary. And who cares? That is really not what matters. That's comical. That is comical. 995 delegates now for Trump. You need 1,215, which leaves him 220 delegates shy. Let's take a look at the, hang on a second here. When will he be able to get this? Okay, primary schedule in order. So let me find this here very quickly. What we got for delegates at risk. All right, so this was March. Now, March 8th, there's 9 Republican delegates. On the 12th, there are, let's do this, 59, 69, 79, 78, and 88, 98, 108, 118, and 43. And 43. Yeah, Trump can't make it on the 12th. 40, he can't unless the Texas number comes through. 143, about 186 delegates at stake on the 12th, and he needs 215. So unless those other 50 delegates from Texas are awarded to Trump, which I don't understand why they wouldn't be, he cannot clinch on that date. But it's close. It's close. Donald Trump is ahead. Yeah, Nikki Haley. So, as I reported yesterday, the Biden administration has finally publicly admitted to the crimes that they've been committing under Title 42 for the past 3 years, which Title 42 was suspended in summer of 2022. So for 2 years, they violated federal law, and they got away with it. And I told you this over and over and over again, reportedly, that people were being dumped in Harrisburg, in Albany, in Tallahassee, among other places. I've told you this story over and over again. We had eyewitnesses up at the Harrisburg airport at 2 o'clock in the morning, roughly, when a contracted flight of criminal alien invaders, purportedly from Haiti, landed after the airport was closed. They paid for the tower to be open after midnight, and it got the attention of the media and local sleuths. So look at this. The Biden administration admits they flew 320,000 criminal alien invaders secretly into the U.S. to reduce the number of crossings at the border. Now, this isn't even the people who came across the border that I was talking about. Wow. Joe Biden's administration has admitted transporting migrants on secret flights into the U.S. Customs and Border Protection has refused to disclose information about a program last year secretly arranging flights for thousands of undocumented immigrants from foreign airports directly to U.S. cities. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. This isn't even the story I was talking about. This is another story. This is an invasion. And that's not xenophobic. That's not racist. It's an invasion being perpetrated by Europeans and Africans and Asians. Yes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They flew 320,000 criminal alien invaders. They facilitated crimes against this nation. Wow. Unbelievable. And of course, none of them were vetted by the FBI. But the NSA doesn't vet people, Tony. Except for clearances, and those are American citizens. Well, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, says they're going to cut rates this year. Sure. Fed characterizes last year's inflation slowdown as notable and widespread. Yeah, okay. Yeah, interest rates are very high, the highest they've been in decades. Federal officials are trying to balance two risks. One is that they move too slowly to ease policy and the economy crumbles under the weight of higher interest rates. The other is that they ease prematurely, allowing inflation to become entrenched at a level well above their 2% goal. Well, it is well above 2%, you clowns. It's more like 8 or 9%, although they claim it's 5%. That's a lie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, last night's results in the California Republic, the Bear Republic of California, in San Francisco, the crappy city by the bay, overrun by drug addicts, prostitutes, people defecating on the street, homelessness, and leftist hate wankers. San Franciscans finally said, enough is enough. No more rice-a-roni, no more San Francisco treat for leftist handouts, no more lawlessness as voters went to the polls and approved ballot measures. Shocking that the numbers weren't higher, but let's take a look at this. The San Francisco Chronicle, the venerated paper that reported on major crime wave back in the 1970s, the Zodiac killer, says progressivism is out for now. Voters make it clear San Francisco can no longer be called a progressive city. Measure C on the ballot, residential conversions, 54% voted yes. Measure E for police powers, expanding police hours, 59.9, 60% said yes. Measure F, drug screening for welfare recipients, 63% yes. It just shows you that 40% of the residents of San Francisco are morons, absolute morons. So progressivism is out. National Review, a conservative outlet, says San Franciscans passed ballot measures. Proposition E, which authorizes police to use surveillance equipment, cameras, drones, and even facial recognition technology without prior permission from an oversight body, passed with 59.9% of the. That's shocking. Now, to me, that's unreasonable search and seizure and a violation of the Fourth Amendment. They'll make the arguments on public property, but then you know that they'll do this on people's private property. Yeah. So this isn't really a win for the end of progressivism. In my view, it's actually a continuation of progressivism and the state surveillance. Proposition F, which mandates that anyone receiving public assistance benefits be screened for substance abuse, passed with 63%. Well, that one I'm okay with. As part of the proposition, public assistance recipients found to be drug dependent could be offered treatment, of course, at taxpayer expense. If it's made available at no cost, recipient will be required to participate in continuing receiving public benefits. Yeah. Yeah, the win for both propositions was a big win for San Francisco's embattled mayor, London Breed, who placed both measures on the primary ballot in an effort to tamp down on crime and take aim at drug addiction. Well, good for you. You finally got a mayor that's paying attention. So, San Francisco Supervisor Matt Dorsey, a self-described liberal Democrat who has been a supporter of law and order measures, told the National Review ahead of the vote that he supports drug screening for people who are wildly disproportionate risk for substance abuse disorder, and because the area we are in with fentanyl, at wildly disproportionate risk for deadly overdoses. Yeah. They defeated another Proposition B that was initially introduced by Dorsey as a clean mandate to increase staffing levels, but was amended with a tax provision that Dorsey called a poison pill. Proposition B failed with only 32% of the people approving it because they didn't want to raise their taxes. Yep. Yeah, he pulled his support for Proposition B after far-left Supervisor Aisha Safai was challenging brief for mayor, amended the proposition to tie police staffing increases to a tax increase. Ahead of the vote, Dorsey called the amended proposition craven political trickery and a far-left ploy for new taxes. A cop tax scheme, exactly. Well, MSNBC. Wow. So MSNBC's Rachel Maddow and Jen Psaki and Joyless Reed make fun of Virginia voters. This is why liberals and leftists never win in the end. MSNBC anchors Jen Psaki, Joy Reid, and Rachel Maddow joked about Virginia voters' concerns over immigration. Early exit polls indicate immigration was the top issue in the Republican primary. The United States expected to be grappling with more than 8 million fake asylum seekers and migrants by this September. MSNBC anchors Jen Psaki, Joy Reid, and Rachel Maddow joked about Virginia voters' concerns over immigration during Super Tuesday election coverage at the left-leaning network. In Virginia, which in recent elections has become a swing state, early exit polls indicate immigration was a top issue. While discussing those exit polls on air, anchors from the liberal network mocked voters from the Old Dominion state for their concerns. Former propaganda secretary, the granddaughter of Joseph Goebbels, Jen Psaki, former White House press secretary Joseph Goebbels' granddaughter, Jen Psaki, said, "I live in Virginia. Immigration was the number one issue." As Reid is heard laughing, Maddow said, "Well, Virginia does have a border with West Virginia." Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. These people have total tone deafness, just like, saying those people who cling to their God and guns. Now, the wokeism continues in the U.S. government, and the latest example of wokeism is the Veterans Administration, which sought to ban an iconic, globally recognized photo on VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day in 1945, when it was announced a sailor, a drunken sailor who left the movie theater with his soon-to-be wife, walked out in the street, grabbed the first nurse he saw, who wasn't a nurse. She was actually an Austrian immigrant who fled Nazism in 1939, came to America, and was a dental assistant, but looked to be a nurse. Grabbed her, gave her a smooch. She never complained. And the VA sought to have this iconic image removed from all VA hospitals. VA has reversed a plan to ban the iconic World War II kiss photo from medical sites. There's the photograph. August 14th, 1945, a sailor and a woman kiss in New York Times Square as people celebrate the end of World War II. It's the same moment the photographer Alfred Eisenstadt captured it, first published in Life magazine. Veterans Affairs Secretary Dennis McDonough is overruling plans to ban the famous Times Square photo marking the end of World War II, a move criticized as political correctness run amok. The photo, which depicts a non-consensual act, is inconsistent with the VA's non-tolerance towards sexual harassment and assault. Are you serious? Are you serious? To promote a culture of inclusivity and awareness, your cooperation is vital. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. And of course, Twitter felt the need to put context on that statement. My goodness. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This country is an embarrassment. It's a joke. Donald Trump was 100% correct last night in his speech. The only candidate who actually spoke last night after the elections, Joe Biden, was busy napping. Hillary Clinton was busy, or not Hillary Clinton, sorry. Hillary Clinton, Nikki Haley, what's the difference? Nikki Haley was busy licking her wounds and crying in her buttermilk about being a poor little brown girl who couldn't get into a beauty pageant last night. So only Trump spoke, and Trump said the world laughed at us, and the world does laugh at us. Woke VA officials ban iconic World War II kiss photo over values and are forced to reverse it when the boss finds out via tweet. The Veterans Administration chief had not been made aware of the memo before it was issued and never approved it. Wow. And there is, of course, the iconic Life magazine photograph of the two of them smooching. Yep. So there's the man who did it, Glenn McDuffie. The photo, which captures an ecstatic U.S. sailor kissing a nurse passing by to celebrate the end of the war with Japan, was deemed inappropriate behavior by VA higher-ups because it depicts a non-consensual act. Displaying the snapshot of VA hospitals could be construed as a tacit endorsement of the inappropriate behavior it depicts, wrote Rima Ann Nelson, the agency's Assistant Undersecretary for Health and Operations, in a February 29th memo. Employees have expressed discomfort with the display of the photograph, and to foster a more trauma-informed environment, it should be removed. Trauma-informed? I'm sorry, Rima Ann Nelson, what do you know about trauma? One of you served in combat. Shut up. Sit down and shut up. These clowns, absolutely ridiculous, trying to destroy all history. Non-consensual. Unbelievable. So, this is unreal. Unreal. So I'm going to give you a few screenshots of responses and reactions to this so you can see them. Let me get through them very quickly here. Right. Give me a second here. I got to get them all up. And this came off of screen captures from Fox News, because they covered the story this morning. This was after I listened to Nikki Haley's concession speech, which was okay, wasn't great. So here we go. This is what was on Fox News today. This is the director of Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, said, "Let me be clear, this image is not banned from VA facilities, and we will keep it in VA facilities." Sure, watch them slowly take it out when nobody's watching. The Veterans Administration reverses plan to ban iconic World War II kiss photo. So then whoops, that's not what I wanted. Whoops, let's go back. Sorry. That is not what I was looking for there. Yeah, so we got to get rid of that one. I guess it doesn't let me advance it that way. So let me get back to the other. This is the evil Eva Rima Ann. This is the woman who banned the photograph. Another misandric attempt by woke lefties to destroy America. That is the woman responsible for it. So, come on, these are still out of order. What's going on here? And this is what she wrote. This memorandum requests the removal of the VJ Day in Times Square photograph from all Veterans Health Administration facilities in alignment with the Department of Veterans Affairs' commitment to maintaining a safe, okay, you mean an exclusionary environment, a safe, respectful, and trauma-informed environment. The action is promoted by the recognition that the photograph, which depicts a non-consensual act, is inconsistent with the VA's no-tolerance policy towards harassment and assault. Wow. So, in response, smart political response here by Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida. He said the VJ Day in Times Square is one of the most iconic photos in history and celebrates total victory in World War II. The fact that the Veterans Administration would even consider removing it demonstrates the overly politicized rot within our bureaucracy. We should be proud to be Americans. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. Byron Donalds, smart move to post that on Twitter. And these wokies are just out of their mind. Out of their mind. Speaking of wokies being out of their mind, the Biden regime is targeting Christian universities, schools of faith. Liberty University has been a target of theirs, and now they're getting a $14 million fine over supposedly not complying with some federal law meant to crush academic learning. Liberty University fined a record $14 million for campus safety violations. The Department of Education imposed a $14 million fine on Liberty University, a Christian college located in Virginia, over violations of a campus safety law. How can the Department of Education impose a fine? They're not a legislative body. They're not a court. They should not have the authority to impose fines on education. If there is a fine necessary for failure to comply with the law, then a court should be ordering that, not the Department of Education. This is bureaucracy run amok. This is not the role of the Department of Education. Not the role, and should not be the role. This is clearly an effort to harass Christians in a Christian majority country. This is wackadoodle stuff, folks. Department of Education sets the largest ever fine imposed for violating the Clery Act. What is the Clery Act? It requires colleges to maintain and disclose campus crime statistics and security information. Why? To whom? Why do you need that? It's private property. Liberty University is not a state institution. Why does the Department of Education get to force Liberty University to declare crime statistics to the federal government? If anything, the state government should be the authority demanding that. The federal government has no authority to do this whatsoever. Another violation of the Constitution. This is a power not specifically enumerated to the federal government. And I, once again, revert to the Constitution of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, the 10th Amendment to the United States is very clear. The power is not delegated to the United States by this Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people, not to the federal government. This is an unconstitutional fine. This is illegal, illicit. This is expansion of the federal bureaucracy beyond the limits of the Constitution, and it is morally reprehensible and unconstitutional. The Department of Education initiated a review in 2022 after receiving complaints that alleged the college committed violations of the Clery Act. The review also followed a 2021 lawsuit in which 12 women claimed that the school created an environment that increased the likelihood of sexual assault and rape. The case was settled in 2022. The Department of Education's Clery Act review, conducted by an Office of Federal Student Aid, identified 11 violations such as failing to maintain an accurate daily crime log, failing to issue timely warnings to the campus community about reportable crimes, and failing to comply with numerous sexual violence prevention and response requirements. Although the Clery Act, schools are obliged to take action and create safe and secure campus communities, investigate complaints, and responsibly disclose information about crimes and other safety concerns, we will continue to hold schools accountable if they fail to do so, says Richard Cordray, the Federal Student Aid's chief. So the Federal Student Loan Program, or Federal Grant Program, the Pell Grants, these are the people that are finding a university guilty and fining. They have no authority to do this. Wow. It wasn't the first fine. The Clery Act was passed in 1990 after Janine Clery was raped and murdered in her college dorm in Lehigh University right here in Pennsylvania. So there's what the Clery Act is. In 2019, Michigan State University was fined $4.5 million under the Clery Act, a record at the time in connection with Larry Nassar's sexual abuse scandal. Yeah, well, this is targeting a Christian university. Liberty University fined a record $14 million for violations of a federal law that really needs to be rescinded. 100-page report describes how from 2016 to 2023, the Christian University in Lynchburg, Virginia demonstrated serious, persistent, and systemic violations of a law that most of us have never even heard of. Most of us have never even heard of this law. Well, another unfortunate Asian hate crime in America. This is an Asian hate crime, but the media doesn't report it as an Asian hate crime. Once again, the vast majority of Asian hate crimes in America are perpetrated by Black Americans against Asians. That's not a target of Black Americans. Most Black Americans are law-abiding, good, wonderful people, God-fearing also too. But that's where most of this hate crime comes from. So-called hate crime against Asians. This one not being reported as such, but the person who did it was released once again. She was arrested for this. New York City subway cellist attacker arrested again for allegedly stealing pricey baseball cap. 23-year-old woman busted last week in a caught-on-video bottle attack in a subway. Cellist was arrested again Tuesday after the judge released her despite pleas that she be held on bail. Amira Hunter was busted for petty larceny at the Nordstrom in Midtown at 3:40 for supposedly stealing a $235 Montclair baseball hat, according to police. A witness called 911 to report the alleged theft. The arrest comes less than 1 week after she was nabbed for bashing cellist Ian Forrest in the head while he was performing in the Herald Square subway station on February 13. Judge Marva Brown cut the violent assault hate crime criminal loose at her arraignment the following day, despite the prosecutor pointing out she had failed to appear 3 of her 5 court days in other unrelated criminal cases. 3 of 5 days. 5 other criminal cases. Amira Hunter, 23, of Brooklyn, leaves the court with a big smile on her face. Someone paid for that grill work. She's got braces. And there is the victim of the Asian hate crime. Mr. Forrest has stopped playing in the subway indefinitely and only picked up his cello for the first time today. Here you see her assaulting him. She's well known to police with 8 prior arrests and was last taken into custody in October for theft. Here she hits this cellist in the head with a bottle. The time of arrest, she had a bench warrant out for arrest for 2 petty larceny cases, according to DA Manhattan's office. The Manhattan DA's office, Alvin Bragg, is too busy illegitimately prosecuting Donald Trump to deal with violent offenders who assault people in New York subways. She was arrested in October last year on grand larceny charges for supposedly stealing 2 bathing suits worth $2,050 from Bergdorf Goodman. Imagine that in a bathing suit? No, thank you. Yep. Hunter of Brooklyn was also arrested twice for assaulting her mother in 2019. Oh, what a lovely human being this is. She steals bathing suits that she can't fit into. She breaks bottles over the head of Asians playing in the subway. And she assaulted her mother twice in 2019. However, Brown let Hunter walk on supervised release, despite the fact that she could have set bail because the assault charge for the cello incident was a violent felony. New York City Transit Commissioner Michael Kemper referred to the New York One Wednesday to Hunter's new arrest as an example of what Mayor Eric Adams called the city's recidivism problem. Well, yeah, because you let criminals out. This woman had active bench warrants for failing to report to court. The judge released her against the prosecutor's wishes. Forrest, who is a MD, PhD student at Mount Sinai's ICANN School of Medicine, decided to stop performing for commuters after brutal assault. Incident marked the second time he was injured while playing his cello in the past year alone, the 29-year-old explained on social media. I love performing for you all in the subway, but I'm at a breaking point and I can't take more injury or harm. So another Asian hate crime not reported by the mainstream media because the perpetrator is black. The perpetrator is black. And so the black racist who assaulted an Asian with a bottle in the head in the subway is released on bail and then goes and steals a baseball hat, despite having 5 bench warrants out on her. Wow. There you have it, folks. This is the state of this country where criminals are allowed to roam free and harm citizens with impunity. It's almost like we're South Africa. It's almost like this is South Africa. It's crazy. Let me say hello to everybody before we get to the... I'm also going to direct you to Ronaldo's stream if you want to get to that after this. So let me get to this and redirect. Come on. Where are you at? There we go. That's the one I want to put out. Customization. And then we add a redirect. And the redirect will take us to Ronaldo. Where's Ronaldo at? Come on. There we go. 6 March. Okay, so after this stream, you'll be redirected automatically to Ronaldo. Actually, I should get some other videos to redirecting you to my one. That helps sometimes. Anyway, so there you have it. All right, so let's go back here. Overdose deaths are worrying them now because they're losing votes. Exactly. They're canceling drug programs. Shawnee Chavez says, good day. Good day to you, Shawnee. You were here last night. Erica says, deluded Democrats. Julie says, I always love this image. Looks like my great uncle Curly when he would have come home from the wars. Yeah. Both of those in the kiss picture replayed that kiss several times after that photo became an icon. Yep. Love the smell of grandma starching her sun-dried white uniforms, nursing cap, or polished white shoes. Okay. Hey, Martin K. Dylan Combrick. People are screwed, says Tony Nady. I wonder why recruitment numbers are down. Exactly. She looks like Jabba the Hutt meets the illegal alien. Oh, my goodness. Wait till the universities start placing illegal aliens from the rape cultures and emptied out prisons hit the dorms for their free educations. Well, we're already seeing it. Augusta University in Georgia, we saw the murder of Lake and Riley. the brutal assault, the disfigurement of her skull by this violent rapist murderer who was released by New York authorities and put in the country by the criminal Biden regime. People keep focusing on Laken Riley, but let's not forget the young lady who was murdered just down the road here in Frederick County, Maryland, by a criminal alien invader who was sharing an apartment with her. And let's never forget Kate Steinle's murder. Woman not alive today because of criminal alien invader who should not have been in the country. All Ronaldo does is complain. What are you complaining about, Ronaldo? Hey, Christoph Havanga, welcome to you. Good to see you again. $2,000 bathing suit. What the actual? Yeah, exactly, Tony. $2,000 bathing suit. Yeah, Julie, it's becoming daily news. South Africa's a peaceful, prosperous, wonderful country, says Christoph. Yeah, okay, sure. Lurking quietly, says Marilyn. And Mario Falante Rebello, Cape Independence to save our Cape. Hey, Mario, welcome to you. I've never seen you in the chat before. Pleasure to see you there. Thanks for joining us. Folks, Ronaldo's in the house complaining about something. I have no idea he's complaining about. All right, Ronaldo, I'm going to tell you about this, and we can talk about this. We're obviously going to talk about a number of things, but when we go to Wednesdays with the Colonel in 20 minutes, hey, Kurtz Verhoeven's here, 0.9% growth. Yeah, South Africa needs about 6.5 to 8.5 annual GDP growth for a sustained period of 10 to 15 years just to catch up with the backlog. Backlog? Is that racist? Backlog that it's facing now. This is what you get when you go to Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI. So this came about last night because I was watching a program and they clicked their phone and they used AI and they said, Copilot, who is, and they got really good information back on their channel, which is impressive. So I did it for my channel and it said some interesting things. So for instance, I didn't print that one out, but let me find it from last night. I did the screen capture, Copilot. I think it's this one. Let me see. Yeah, I said, so what is Chris Wyatt Reports? This is what Copilot said. Chris Wyatt Reports is a series of independent journalism videos created by Colonel Chris Wyatt. These reports cover a range of topics related to Africa, the United States, and global affairs. Let's explore a few recent episodes. Morning edition of February 7th, 2024. In this video, Colonel Chris Wyatt discusses topics related to South Africa, the African National Congress, and President Joe Biden. You can watch it at this link. Chris Wyatt Reports Twickenham Special, May 20th, 2023. This episode focuses on rugby in Russia. It says, unfortunately, the video is not available for viewing. That's because I probably made it private. And then number 3, cricket, China, Durban's dangerous beaches. Chris Wyatt Reports, November 26, 2023. Colonel Chris Wyatt covers cricket, China, and safety concerns in Durban's beaches. You can watch the video here. Colonel Chris Wyatt's independent journalism aims to provide cogent conversation and objective analysis on various topics. If you're interested, you can support his work. Anyway, so yeah, that's what they said about that. But now I looked up Colonel Chris Wyatt, and what does that mean? So what does Copilot say about Colonel Chris Wyatt? So here it is right here, and I printed it out. It says, oh, that's not it. I've clicked on the wrong one again. Sorry. This is the one I want. No, that's not it. God bless it. Here we go. This is the one I want. Come on. There we go. No, I don't have it. I guess I printed it out. Okay. So this is what it said about, I said, who is Colonel Chris Wyatt? This is what Copilot had to say. And I'm humbled by this. I didn't write this. This is what they came up with. You ready for this? So, I mean, this is, of course, after Google's Gemini epic fail, putting black founding fathers and, female Asian popes, which never existed, for their DEI. But this is what they said about this. So, Copilot says, Colonel Chris Wyatt, William M. Chris Wyatt, is a distinguished professional military officer with an impressive track record of accomplishments. His extensive pedigree has earned him well-deserved honors and recognition in the security sector. Let's delve into his remarkable journey. Let's. Background education. Colonel Wyatt's upbringing on a farm instilled in him a strong work ethic and a thirst for knowledge. He is largely self-taught and self-educated in world events. His expertise extends across various domains, including international development and education, with experiences spanning Africa, Europe, Southwest Asia, and North America. Military career highlights. Foreign Area Officer Colonel Wyatt was trained as a foreign area officer and proficient in 6 languages. Counterterrorism and counterintelligence. Background includes expertise in counterintelligence, counterterrorism, signals, yada. And then it lists several of my jobs that I did. And then it says teaching and impact. Colonel Wyatt's passion for Africa is evident in his role as an educator and motivator at the U.S. Army War College, where he imparted wisdom to a global audience. Notably, he played a pivotal role in rebuilding the armed forces of Liberia, leaving behind a capable force of 2,137 soldiers ready to defend their country. Now, the next part is really humbling, so check this out. Unquestioned integrity. Colonel Wyatt's integrity is beyond reproach. His leadership has inspired men and women to achieve great feats under his command. His ability to realign thinking and vision extends even to Fortune 500 companies. Where did that come from? I've never written that anywhere. In summary, Colonel Wyatt is a remarkable individual whose impact resonates across continents, and his dedication to education and security continues to shape the world and the United States. Wow. How cool is that? Thanks a lot. Co-pilot, the check is in the mail. The check is in the mail, co-pilot. Wow. That comes on the eve of my debate next week. Maybe I should mention co-pilot. Hey, if you want to know who I am, look me up in co-pilot, Microsoft's AI. Yeah, Debbie, that's incredible write-up, especially the part. By the way, for the eucalyptus tea drinkers from down under, I didn't see anywhere co-pilot said that I work for a certain three-letter agency. Ken, it's actually quite remarkable how quickly America can recover from $34 trillion in debt. If the federal government holds a line on inflationary increases in the budget and cuts out about $2 billion of unnecessary programs that are being spent and wasted money on right now, which isn't money going to people's pocket directly, that will allow our country to have a surplus in taxes. We could have $1 billion or $2 billion surplus annually. And in a little over a decade, we could reduce the national debt to nothing. But it takes courage. It takes genuine patriots, servant leaders, serving in Congress and in the White House to reduce that. But we have cowards, total cowards, afraid to address the issue of Social Security, which is unsustainable. They don't even admit to the American people. Those of us who are self-employed know how corrupt Social Security is. I pay almost 20% of my wages for other people's retirement. It's nothing there for me. It's gone. And many of these people aren't even citizens or were never even here. You can get Social Security and not be a citizen. You simply need a Social Security number. And you get a Social Security number by working in America. Marilyn says, please be associated with such an accomplished personality. Well, thank you so much, Marilyn. That's so kind. What did Ken say? Oh, if. But it takes courage. What is it? Wonderful message. Yeah, well, Allison, that was incredible. I mean, look, I just thought I'd give it a try. I don't like this AI stuff because Skynet scares the bejesus out of me. It does. I don't want thinking computers making decisions that shouldn't be made by computers. But this is from Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI. Wow, that was... Now, there's one mistake in here. It's a typo. They put 237 troops. It's 2,137, yeah. So, anyway. But, yeah, what a nice... And I really like the unquestioned integrity thing. It's almost like they took that from my evaluations, but those aren't a matter of public record. That's things that are hidden behind firewalls and protected. So, there's no way that Copilot can get to those things unless the U.S. government has compromised our evaluation system. That would be true, too. Possible. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, but wow, that was... I mean, that kind of brightened my day last night. That kind of put me in a good mood. I mean, it's all true, but I mean, you know, the way that you come under attack by leftist hate wankers and liars all the time, this is really nice. Really nice. I mean, it could be a lot longer, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. Anyway, so we'll see if it grows, if I am successful and get elected. When Chris Googles himself. I didn't Google myself, Ronaldo. If I Googled myself, there'd be a photograph of me with a very dark complexion and an incredibly amazing tan and probably looking like I'm from the 1760s. Who is Colonel Chris Wyatt? Colonel Chris Wyatt is this individual. Picture of me looking like I just came out of the Sudan. Yeah, no, I didn't Google myself, but I can Google myself, but there's not, you know, the Googling isn't particularly effective. I haven't done it in a long time. Since Ronaldo is playing around. Okay, all right, so LinkedIn. Worldwide Association of Notable Alumni. What is that? You know I'm on there. Wow. What's the... Okay, I didn't... What's this? The Worldwide Association of Notable Alumni. I don't know what this is. It has me down when I was Director of African Studies. Education, Troy University, Ohio University, Army War College... wow. More than 25 years experience, professional military officer, extensive pedigree accomplishments that allowed him, that he has received with merit and glory, very extensive profile in the security sector, stands alone in international development, education fields, experiences in Africa, Europe, Southwest Asia. Oh, I think they might have got some of this stuff from here. I'd never seen that before. Huh. I didn't even know that was there. The China file has me. So if I go to the China file, let's see what the China file. There's a picture of me from 2012 on there. That's a little dated now. Yep, they've got me on there. And they got a link to a closer look at U.S. Africa strategy. That's an article I published some time ago. War Room for the Army War College. Is it still there? Yeah, it is. January 30th, 2019. Yep. Yep. So this is after Trump became president. It said a new strategy seems far less a strategy, much more akin to a philosophy for engagement with Africa. The Trump administration's new Africa strategy has gotten a lot of press, much of it negative since National Security Advisor John Bolton announced it on December 13th of 2018 at the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. The first comment the announcement warrants is something almost no one seems to have pointed out. Namely, the new strategy seems far less a strategy and much more akin to a philosophy for engagement in Africa, one which Africans should take notice of if they want cooperation with Washington. The new strategy came with no funding proposals or requests, no executive orders or proposed legislation to facilitate the purported desire to partner with regional organizations, and thus far, no published strategy publicly available. We only have Ambassador Bolton's speech. Consequently, the cavalcade of negative commentary is premature, and most of it is overly focused on China. This is understandable, given the administration seems to have sought to draw everyone's attention in that direction. But in focusing on China, analysts, academics, politicians, intellectuals, and businessmen are missing several key points Bolton made, which should put folks on notice regarding U.S. engagement in Africa's economic development, security, and political matters. Ambassador Bolton listed in the order of priority 3 pillars of the new strategy. Number 1, advancing U.S. trade and commercial ties. Number 2, countering the threat from radical Islamic terrorism and violent conflict. And number 3, ensuring U.S. taxpayer dollars are used effectively and efficiently. None of these ideas are new or unique. All have been the focus of U.S. foreign policy in Africa over the past 3 administrations. The differences have been in how each administration prioritized them. While U.S. government officials often herald investment, little of our foreign policy is focused on U.S. commercial interests or lack thereof in Africa. 2, the intense focus on calling out China, mentioned 14 times in Bolton's speech, and Russia simply reframes policy for Africa. But has it really changed? We shall see. Buried in the details in the great power competition narrative are things Africans should take note of and consider carefully in the diplomatic dealings with the U.S. Anyway, that's an article I wrote in 2019. So that's there. My LinkedIn profile's there. TWA Summit, the Trade with Africa Summit's there. Yep. What else? And there's some pictures of me. Okay. On the outside looking, there's my old conscious caracal, Podbean. Okay. And then some of my YouTube videos with the Army War College, but not my videos. They promote the War College ones. Africa Command. Yeah, this is long ago. Is that still there? This is like 15 years ago. June 16th, 2008, Soldiers of the Armed Forces Library to be honored at graduation ceremony. Yeah. Wow. And I was interviewed here, so that's yeah. Anyway, yeah. So if you Google me, there's stuff there. And then the China Global Project. Yep. Facebook, U.S. Army War College. What's this? Somebody who wrote something. Oh, Frederick Feldman. Okay. Oh, that's a cool picture. I forgot about that. I'm going to save that picture. That's on Facebook. Cool beans. Interesting. Save that picture from the War College. Yeah, that was a cool one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Huh. Yeah, I'll show you this picture I'm talking about, folks. So this is on Facebook because I don't do Facebook much. So, by the way, my website for my campaign is supposed to go live today, but I haven't got an update, so hopefully we'll hear about it. But there it is. There I am in fatigues. That's the speech I gave about South Africa's fragile democracy back in 2019. Yep. Or 2018, excuse me. Yep. So, wow. It's been that long ago. It's crazy how time goes by. 70 people currently. Oh, 62 people currently here. 70 likes. Sorry. Look at that weak chin. Oh, my goodness. Ronaldo is just such an impertinent child. He needs to be smacked. Pennsylvania business tax from 3 to 12%. More small. What are you talking about business tax? Where is that coming from, Mike? Share that with me. That's a topic I need to talk about then. Yep. Charles. Yeah, Charles using his data to watch us. Learning things about yourself in Copilot. Yeah, I guess so, Christoph. I'm learning new things about myself. No. Look, you try to be humble in life. Again, I made these 2 cards. We've still got a few minutes before we go, so I've shared these with people before. But so these are my palm cards for the campaign. So there's that one. And that says a little bit about my positions and then a little bit about me on the back. And you can see the photo in uniform and then at the castle there in Cape Town. So I created another palm card, which is one I can hand out at speeches and presentations, things like that. You can do them both, but this one has more of the issues that I'm concerned about and has some stuff on here. Now, I did this, and the people who produced these cards for me said, we want your accomplishments, and we think accomplishments need to go on the back. And I said, okay. So I sent them a list of accomplishments, and they said, well, that's a lot. And I said, well, that's just a fraction of the things I've done. You try to be humble, but I try to pick some of the most important ones out. Anyway, so on the front, it says, a battle-tested servant leader with an incredible record of success at all levels across America and the globe. And on the back, for achievements here, 37-year Army combat veteran, chief of staff of a $3 billion program in the National Security Agency, led a $254 million rebuilding of the post-conflict Armed Forces of Liberia, author of 9 presidential data briefs for the President of the United States, author of 1,200 strategic intelligence products at Defense Intelligence Agency, 30-year intelligence analyst, judge of elections, Army counterintelligence agent, investigated espionage against the United States, developed HIV/AIDS programs across Africa, taught undergraduates at Iowa State University, taught postgraduates in national security strategy and policy, macroeconomics, African studies at U.S. Army War College, published author with Stellenbosch University and U.S. Army War College, radio broadcaster, independent journalist, energy industry analyst, dairy farmer in rural Appalachia, polyglot, speaks 6 languages, served in Germany, 3 tours, Italy, Tunisia, Liberia, Botswana, Malawi, Niger, Mauritania, Uganda, Ethiopia, Gulf War, Bosnia, Kosovo, campaign veteran, rose from private to sergeant to colonel. Anyway, so just a smattering of the things that I've done in life. What's this? What's this Tony says? Tony said something there. Oh, Ronaldo annoys you. Yeah, Ronaldo is trying to be cheeky. He's probably been eating edibles. Not a good thing before our program goes live in a few minutes. Oh, yeah, rugby lover, yeah. Oh, Ronaldo's trying to steal my airtime now. It's 5 minutes till, so he's ready. But thank you for the heads up, Ronaldo. We'll go off the air here just shortly here. Upcoming live stream. There you go, folks. Nick says most people annoy me lately. By the way, I'm wearing a Gettysburg Battle anniversary shirt today. 160th anniversary, which was last year. 160th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg in July of 1863. I was also there for the 150th anniversary, sesquicentennial. Which was pretty cool. That was back in 2013. Yeah, anyway. All right, so, yeah. I'm missing some things guys are saying here, so sorry about that. Okay, 71 likes now. Okay, thank you for that. 74 likes. Ooh, I've got 71, 72, 73, 74. I had them 74, 75, 76, 88, 100. Can I get 100 likes, please? Oh, from the gentleman over there with the red cap on. I'm sorry, your name is Malema? Julius. Okay. Julius Malema gives us 100 likes. He bids 100 likes for this broadcast. Juju Malema. Thank you, sir. Can I get another one over here? Can I get another one? Oh, wait. Sorry. You're from what? From MK. I'm sorry. What is that? Zuma. Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma with 110 likes. Can I get 120? 120? Can I get 110? We got 110 over here from Jay-Z. We got 100 from Juju. 110 from Jay-Z. Can I get 125 likes? Can I say going once at 110, going twice at 110? Whoa, 125. We have 125 likes over here from the gentleman in the corner. And who are you, sir? I'm sorry, you won't give your name, but you'll just go by the designation White Monopoly Capital. White Monopoly Capital bids 125 likes. Can I get 130? Can I get 130? 125 from White Monopoly Capital. 130. 150. Whoa, in the corner back here. 150 likes. And you, sir, what is your name? Bell Pottinger. Bell Pottinger bids 150 likes for this broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we're up to 150 likes. Can we get more? Can we get more? Can we get more? 150 going once, going twice. Whoa. Oh, sorry. We have a late bidder here. A late bidder. Sorry. Gayton McKenzie with 175 likes for the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on fire right now. 175 likes on the broadcast. Can I get 200? Can we get to 200? Please, 200. Somebody give me 200 likes. Can we get 200 likes now? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have an outside bidder who's just come in from the islands down in the South Pacific. None other than Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed just bid 500 likes for this broadcast. There you have it, folks. Mr. Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mr. Ed, the former Prime Minister of the Communist Republic of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. Thank you, ma'am, for your contribution. And with that, we're going to close out the bidding with 500 likes for the broadcast. Hey, that's pretty impressive, folks. It went very well here late. All these people bidding on it. So the Guptas didn't bid. Stop swearing. The late bidder, the Guptas. No, the Guptas aren't bidding. They're too busy. Who's on edibles now? Alter Bridge. Hey, be nice there, Alter Bridge. All right, it's time for us to go. You'll be redirected automatically to Wednesdays with the Colonel with Ronaldo. Hopefully we'll see you there in just a couple minutes. Let me wrap it up here. I've got to hit the loo, and I got to start the broadcast. That's probably TMI. TMI. All right, folks, we'll see you on Ronaldo's program in just a moment. Cheers. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. What happened to those 500 likes? I only see 79. I think Jacinda Ardern lied. Cheers.